All right. Rick is here, of course, and on the line with me, I've got Adam Aguilera, a good buddy of mine, who is a nutritionist. He's giving me some nutrition advice for my physical side of my 411. Adam, I'd love to introduce you, but you're going to do a much better job than I can. So go ahead, take the reins. You're up.
All right, thank you. Well, my name is Adam Aguilera, and I studied at Chico State University here in California. And I went in for nutrition. There are three options for nutrition. One was the food administration, which is more about running a business with food, restaurateurs, things like that. With the as well, we have food communications, which was kind of right in the middle. You're more PR. You're working more for companies like SNAP, Center for Nutrition Activity Promotion, Center for Health and Wellness, WIC, Women, Infant, and Children kind of thing. So you're kind of a broad spectrum of nutrition and health, and you can do a lot of things with that degree as well. And the third one, what I did is the options in general dietetics. Now that is the one where you will be taking classes and getting prepared to learn how to do clinical nutrition in a clinical setting, in a hospital or in a short-term healthcare facility, working for veterans, even working for school districts as well. A lot of school districts actually hire registered dietitians with a bachelor's or master's degree to run their school food programs as well. And so I actually started with the food communications degree part, because it actually, all the classes kind of went hand in hand with general dietetics, and you had to apply to the general dietetics portion to get in. I didn't get in the first time around, so I actually have two degrees. I went through and finished the food communications, and then my last semester I got into general dietetics, so I had another year and a half. But I said, screw it, I'm here, I might as well do it anyways. So here I am now. So I have a double bachelor's degree. Which is just, it's not really double bachelor's, it's just two sections of the three. I went to a lot of school, pretty much.
And now you know how to eat well. So.
And now I know how to eat well, now I know how to tell other people how to eat well, but my education is about food and nutrition, it's never done. There's always something new to learn. There's so much we don't know about the world of food and healing with the human body, and that we're still coming up with huge research projects and scientific-based evidence that's coming out today. I mean, even when I left, there was 20-year studies being done about being a vegetarian and how there are correlations to later on onset heart disease in higher risks for people who go vegetarian as opposed to people who are omnivores.
Wow.
And now, I'm not saying that vegetarian is terrible or anything like that, or vegan or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. Everything I say today, this is purely off the experience of myself and what I learned. And this is more of my opinion than anything else, okay? So, but what we learned was that, for example, is what I'm saying, with all these new advances in medicine that we can track, that it is possible for anyone who goes vegetarian for a very long period of time can actually increase their rate of risk of heart disease. Basically due to the fact that there's big portions of the diet that are left out that have to be supplemented in when you're not an omnivore. And so there's breakthroughs like that all the time. So there's always more to learn. So I'm always up for reading more books, going back to school, or even going on to classes. There's great online options for colleges that are free. Even basic nutrition is great for everyone. I think everyone should know what goes into their body, because you are what you eat. That's what I really believe. And so to finish my really long introduction, again, my name is Adam. I am a nutrition major with a bachelor's degree. And technically that makes me a nutritionist.
Two of them.
Two. And I am actually in the process of continuing my career as a registered dietitian. I just applied for dietetic internships, which is another step to be a registered dietitian, where you apply for internships that are clinical, or that are in the clinical setting, and they're over a period of time, and they can be anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, depending where you get it. They're all across the country, and they all focus on different things. Some focus on community, some focus on lab tests and science, and more in the clinical area, and more with dealing with just people in general. So it depends which one you want, where you want to go, and they're expensive too. They can range anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000, and it's a lot of work. But afterwards, you finish, you take the test, and then you're an RD, and you're ready to get into you're ready to get into the world. So I'm hopefully going to get into that. I'm pretty positive that I'm going to get my internship and continue on.
That would be awesome. Now, you say there's different options for it. Do you have anything that you're leaning more towards than another? Or?
Well, I actually want to work with veterans, since I myself and you are a veteran of the United States military, and I really feel that our veterans are overlooked and underappreciated. And so if there's anything I could give back to my fellow brethren in arms, I will do so.
Oh, that works. Yeah, that's how we met long ago. It's been like 10 years. It's been a while.
July 19th is when I went in. Let's see. It was in November. It was November 11th that I was shipped over to Alaska, and that's where we first met, and where I sang my little song, because everyone makes everyone do something at the first day, and that's where I got my call sign, Extina.
Yeah.
And, and then I found out Ricky dances, and so we kind of just we hit it off. I sang, he danced, we became really great friends. But we did meet in the military, the Air Force in Alaska, Elmendorf Air Force Base.
Yeah, which is now J-Bear Joint Base, Elmendorf Richard.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and they're doing that quite a bit to try and save in the military field financially. Blah blah blah.
I get you.
So being in the military, of course, we have we're taught a great deal about personal health and fitness, which goes hand in hand with nutrition, and being able, again, to watch what you're putting into your body to help make sure that what's coming out is a quality product, essentially. How do you think that your military experience has maybe impacted your decision to go into the dietitian, the nutritionist, this entire field of food?
Well, when we started, I mean, it really goes back to boot camp, because if you remember, for me, I think it was for you, well, maybe for you too, I was in the middle of July in Texas, and it was hot, and we had our gear, and we marched everywhere, and so the only thing we looked forward to was food, to be honest. What got us through the day was the 3 chow times that we had, and the sweet old lunch ladies being all like, "What you want, baby?" Because that was the only bit of nice we ever got was from the lunch ladies, and from laundry, They were really nice too. But I that's when I started to realize that food really made the world go around, especially when you're really in a stressful situation, a stressful job, or things like that. You have to have something to look forward to, and food was at least mine. That was kind of what got me through. Because I was like, okay, I've got this many hours till chow time, because it was really stressful. I was an 18-year-old, dumb little kid, and I didn't know what was going on. I had a bunch of people barking orders at me and telling me that the world rests on my shoulders, and if I screwed up, people died and stuff like that. So no stress or anything. But that's when I really started getting the idea that food is a goal for people, whether it's to get through the day, whether it's to nourish them, make them feel comforted, to relieve stress, anything like that. It can really be a key to open up a lot of doors in good and bad ways. It can be positive and negative, and depending how you go with it. And so, as far as the military, they needed us to be on top of our game, so we had to eat. It didn't matter. Even if I wasn't hungry, our CO would be like, "No, go get something." It's like, I'm not hungry. Or remember, we would sit in the trucks all day when we were filling up a KC-5, and someone would bring me Chinese food or something because I was stuck out there for 5 hours. They were really concerned about the type of food that we had, just eating in general, and just keeping up our strength. And we were always encouraged to like go work out and stuff like that. I mean, we had a workout room in the dorms on every level, and we had access to that because they needed us to be in our top physical condition to continue to, serve our country.
Yes. I really appreciate what I'm thinking here as you're talking about this is your passion for the food side of it. Most times I've ever heard anybody talk about this, they've always jumped into cooking. Actually, it's the big thing. Why don't they just become cooks or jump into the restaurant scene? So it's really nice to hear that you've taken something that actually has, in my eyes, a much more influential um, possibility than just going into one restaurant, one building, and
Mhm.
cooking for anybody that comes into you. You're able to try and help shape and mold people into overall more fit, healthy, healthier, things like that. So it's pretty interesting. I really appreciate that. Just thought you should know.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're already aware of this, and by now, hopefully, everybody within my 411 call and my YouTube channel is aware that I am training for a Spartan race. That's what we're going for, late October.
Hoorah!
Hope to see you there.
Aru!
You've actually done a Spartan race before,
I've
at least
actually
one,
I've done several actually.
several.
Hmm.
I didn't even know that, so I'm learning too. Why don't you tell me about your experience with the Spartan race first off, a little bit about how you prepared, and then exactly what you think I should keep in mind in this whole preparation outside of the food thing.
Gladly. So the first time I started okay, let's step back a second. I'm an avid Tough Mudderer. I did a lot of Tough Mudders, and those are challenges that vary from 5 miles to 12, 13 miles. It's very similar. You're going through an obstacle course. It's going to stretch your ability to do things. You're going to find, maybe there's some balance beams or something that you're not really good at, but you're going to do it anyways. You get electrocuted a little bit. That's just kind of a thing. Um, they have forests of exposed wire leads, and they're not all on, so you don't know which one is gonna like hit you, but you know when you do, and it's quite terrible. I don't really like getting shocked, but you just kind of muscle through it. It's a lot of fun. It's all about a group effort. It really shouldn't be done alone, I don't think. I mean, it can if you're really self-motivated and you're competitive with yourself, because I really believe competition is about learning with the limits of oneself and how to continue your own growth, not just about going against someone else. And so I really feel like you can learn a lot in a group. And so everyone helps each other out. Even if you're going single by yourself, there's a group of people, because you get to a point where the race kind of stops because it just kind of jumbles up. There's a lot of people at one event, and so you have to wait for them. But everyone's really supportive in it. Everyone's just like, yeah, go get it. They're telling them if they don't know how to climb a wall, they're telling them, hey, put your right leg over here and it'll be easier. Or even just hoisting them up. Total strangers, and it doesn't matter. They're just like, it's all about the team. It's all for one and one for all there, and it's very empowering, even if you're completely out of shape, which a couple of times I never even like trained for it. I just said, shit, let's just do it. Let's just go. And it was awful because the first one, let's go jump back into Spartan race. The first one I did was called the Beast, and the Beast, there's several different levels. There's the Sprint, the Ultra, the Beast, I'm sorry, the Sprint, Super, Beast, and Ultra. I did the Beast the first one around. I did not train at all for. I thought, oh, it's gonna be like Tough Mudder. It's gonna be super easy, and just kind of fudge through it. And I may have practice running like 6 miles or something like that, but I didn't do like. I did some push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that, but I didn't do it. It's essentially a marathon with CrossFit in the middle, and so. I got my butt kicked, and there was the obstacles are hard. In my personal experience, I feel it's a lot harder than Tough Mudder, because Tough Mudder, they make the obstacles easy enough. Well, I want to say challenging enough so that even the lowest level beginner can do it.
Okay.
I jumped in at a way higher level than I should have been. Like I should have done the sprint, like I'm going to do with you,
Yes.
because that's level based. I really feel it's level based, and so I jumped in at like the senior level, and it was tough. They would make you fill up buckets. 5-gallon buckets of rocks and climb up this 45-degree angle hill for half a mile. You come back down, dump the rocks out, and then they want you to climb a rope. Your arms are fried, and if you didn't train for it, there's no way you're going to climb that rope. And every obstacle that you do not complete, you have to do 30 burpees. That is a penalty. Now, the beast had 20 some odd obstacles in it, or like more than that, like 28 obstacles or something. It was like 15 miles. And do you think I completed all of them? Hell no. I did so many burpees that day. And and it's a self-reliant thing. It's not like someone's counting 1, 2, 3. They're focusing on you. It's a code of ethics thing for yourself. So it's like, you didn't do it. You got to do 30 burpees. Don't cheat yourself. No one's really going to stand there and count. Because at some point I was just like, I can't do it. I just needed to finish the race. It was like mile 11 and I'm already just toasted. My legs were cramping up. I'm just like, my whole body's just like, getting all cerebral palsy. It was bad. And so, training is key and nutrition is key. So, the sprint should only be about 5 miles or so, maybe 6 or maybe 7. It's the mini one. It's the small one. It will still be challenging nonetheless. They will still have you fill buckets of rocks and wander around and throw a spear. That's kind of cool. And so you need to work on your endurance for running. So I suggest if we approximate that the race is going to be about 6 miles, you want to be able to run at least 8 miles. You always want to be able to run a little bit more than the race is. Usually people want to do double. That's a little excessive. If you really want to go all out for it, you can try to get up to 10 miles. Yeah. And then you definitely have to work on core strength and upper body strength and at the same time, because your body's using a lot of fuel to get through this race. And once you're depleted, you're going to start cramping up. So you have to train for that distance and that kind of intensity as well. And it's going to be October, so it's going to be cold and maybe rainy. And yeah, or it's going to be crazy hot. I don't know. It depends on the weather now because I just don't get what happens. So as far as the diet is concerned, definitely getting into kind of a higher carbohydrate load. I know people are all scared about calories and carbohydrates. They are not your enemy. They are totally your friend. While I was in school, because I had an extra year and a half to do more schooling, I didn't have enough classes to fill a whole semester, so I actually got a minor in sports nutrition as well. And so, so there are new ways to carbo load rather than just stuff a bunch of pasta in your face the night before the race. There's actually it takes a week or so that the muscles can hold more of that sugar, that glucose in your body, because there's a certain level that your muscles will keep at, and if you increase it, it'll hold more. And once you have more, you can go farther, you can do more because you're feeding those muscles that are working right now. All right. And so I can tell you about that a little bit later. It's a little involved, but there's a better way to do it. As far as the actual carbo loading, it takes more than just a couple days. It's like you got to start at least 2 weeks ahead, and it's a 50% it's a 50% for the first week, and then as you get to that second week, it's like it goes from 50 up to 80% towards the end of the week. And what I mean by that is 50% carbohydrates, 50% everything else, and then as you get closer to your race, you're going to have a little bit more, so 80% carbs, and then 20% protein, things like that, just so that blood sugar level can actually increase and that storage can increase as well. And try to stay away from, the booze and things like that. I mean, I'm not saying you don't never do it. I will never say never do this, because that is not healthy. You should always have a healthy relationship with food, no matter what you do. That is the most important thing. In school, Yeah, relationship goals. Uh, we learned something in school called intuitive eating or motivational eating, and it sounds cheesy. It sounds really hokey, and it sounds really uh, touchy feely, and a lot of people don't get it. Or a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's common sense." But with our society today, where we need to have a leg gap, we need to be, all muscled up and things like that. It's just it goes to the wayside, and people get all self conscious. Like, oh, I ate McDonald's today. Oh God, I'm a fatty. It's just like, nah, you worked 12 hours and you wanted, a Big Mac and fries. Get it. Just do it. Don't feel bad about it. Just make sure you're not doing it every day. It's okay to have it. It's okay. Don't even call it a cheat. A cheat is a negative term when it comes to food, because then you're thinking, oh, that's a bad food. You start putting labels on things. You don't want to put labels on things, because then you're going to start internally digesting these foods as goods and bads, and then mentally and physically you're going to start feeling bad about yourself. It's going to start affecting you emotionally. So we always want to keep a positive emotional relationship with food in order for us to just be healthy, just be happy, because it's just not about the body, but it's also about the state of the mind and how the mind and body are interacting with each other. It should never be one is fighting the other. They should always be cohesive in life, because once one starts fighting the other, you're your own internal civil war, and that's not what you want to do. I mean, you want peace to reign among the land, double rainbows and things like that. So I actually have a book here. It's the book we read. I don't know if you can see this, but it says
intuitive eating.
Yeah, it's intuitive eating because of this stupid. In no way am I affiliated with these people. In no way am I marketing this. I just think it's a personally good read for people who are struggling with that internal civil war with food in themselves and just trying to get better. There's some people who just want to feel okay every day, not even trying to be a super track star, not trying to be a monstrous beast CrossFit kind of guy or girl. It's some people just want to feel okay, and a lot of people don't understand that, or a lot of people can't grasp that concept that if you're already kind of healthy, you don't know what it's like to be sick every day. And so we really have to kind of open our eyes more towards acceptance of other people's lives, how they grew up, and what what is acceptable for them has to be acceptable for us, because that's their lifestyle. And we have to knock down those walls of judgment, because once we do that, it hurts people. It hurts people. It's so deep that it causes them to binge eat. It causes them to feel bad about themselves or things like that. And there's some people who just have medical conditions where they actually don't make the hormone to tell them to stop eating. It's not their fault. They can't help that, And but people judge, and people will always kind of have this negative good or bad food thing. So that's what I really want to change too when I become more professional in my career. Sorry, getting off topic.
You're fine.
Going back to the Spartan race. Definitely want to go more, like I said, a little bit of higher carbohydrates. We want to do that more with brown rices, with vegetables that are starchier. Let's say sweet potatoes. Potatoes themselves are good too, as long as they're not deep fried. Because deep frying really messes with things and adds a lot of unnecessary calories to the diet as well. And just nice raw vegetables, or what I like to tell people is cook half your vegetables. You don't always have to have them raw, and it brings a different flavor profile. It's not even about if it's healthier or not. There's actually research that shows that if you overcook your vegetables, you actually lose a lot of the nutrients. Let's say for B vitamins, there's something called water soluble, which means once the water is evaporated, so it goes the vitamins as well. So eating raw is great, but if you can't do the raw, then just lightly steam or lightly saute. And proteins, lean proteins. We're talking omega high fish, tuna, salmon, anchovies, sardines. I get these little packages of sardines that Costco. They're fantastic. Um, let's see. Bread is not a bad thing. Bread is not a horrible, thing, especially if you're eating like whole grain breads with whole grain seeds on it, things like that. You're still getting your omegas from those seeds. They usually put like sunflower seeds, and they usually put like hemp seeds or things like that. Bread's not terrible. It's just it shouldn't be in excess every day, all day. Everything in moderation. Everything needs to be in moderation, and it needs to be changed up too. Eat the color of the rainbow, if you can. So Roy G. Biv, and yeah, and always try to change it up, because the body's always, if you think about it, the body's always going to change, or it's always going to come in contact with a different scenario. So you have to eat different things as well, every day, and let's see. Grains are fine too. Rice is fantastic. Quinoa, amaranth, things like that. Those are good. Those are healthy. They have more worth value to them nutritionally than a lot of people think. A lot of people just see grains and rice as just carbohydrates. It's like, no. Like if you look at the B vitamin content of amaranth or quinoa, it's through the roof. And a lot of people don't think, it's a B vitamin complex in a grain. They're just thinking, it's carbohydrates, I'm just going to eat it for that. No. There's so much more to that. And again, you got to break down those walls to look inside, just to find, the deeper cache of goods. And so you sent me a kind of a little bit of a diet for you.
I did.
Kind of your.
Then some food options that I've been looking at. A lot of it has to do with a high intake of water for me.
Which is good.
I was just going to say my focus with the initial part of my diet is actually focused on an increased energy. And the increased energy is what's going to my mentality. You're talking a lot about the mentality of things. So my mental shift that I've had is the increased energy will get me into the gym. Getting into the gym enough times eventually turns it into a habit. So the energy is a little less needed because it's more of a habitual thing for me. And then from there, I'll start recrafting the diet to fit more along the lines of what you're talking about with the increased carbohydrates and things like that, which again, I'll be asking for some advice later on as we get into it. But
of course.
I guess with what I've got for now, a lot of it's focused around the water, protein, nuts. I've got a lot of veggies in there. What I understand is good fat. What I do know I'm missing some things. You mentioned the omega-3s. I am not a fish person, so what other options do I have, or what else am I missing from the diet that I need to put in for the high energy side of it?
Well, if you're not an omega-3 person, you can always still have, for example, walnuts are great in omega-3s. Also, flaxseed as well. That's actually it's actually a fat called, I'm just going to say the abbreviated term. It's ALA, alpha linoleic acid, which actually gets converted into, it can get converted into the oils and fats that you get from fish, like DHA and omega-3, things like that.
Okay.
It's a small percentage that happens, but I mean, you still can get that. I mean, it's never going to be the same as if you're eating a piece of fish or a piece of salmon or things like that. But that's kind of how you can get it in there, especially like the walnuts. That's a huge thing. As far as water is concerned, you always want to drink at least the base minimum is half your body weight in ounces. So that's minimum. That is minimum. We're not even talking about exercise or anything like that, because if you have a higher exercise output, you're going to want to have a higher input of water. But just basically, a lot of people don't even get the minimum water requirements. And yeah, people say, I have a beer, and I've heard that one beer can be considered your water. Yeah, that's true. Or a glass of wine or a soda. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, when do you ever have just one beer? When do you ever have just one soda? Or when do you ever have just one glass of wine? Or you know what I mean? Like, it kind of, if you take it out of perspective of, this is my water, it can spiral out of, oh well, if that's water, then I can drink another one. Technically, it's water too. It's just this weird thinking that people can get into. That it's a strange mindset. But water is good. Like, water is key. Water is life. Water helps the whole body, not only in just hydration, but in lubrication of everything. Jeez, it's like, think about it this way. Your blood needs lubrication. So if you are you're a dry desert in your body, the blood is going to be sludge, and you need the blood to travel all the way through your body, from the heart to the outside, and then get used to the lungs, things like that. It needs to go all the way through. And if it's sludge, it's going to work a lot slower. But if you have that hydration, that lubrication in there, it's going to work a lot faster. And also, water also actually helps move other things around as well. Like, let's say for fat loss, for example, if you don't drink enough water, the fat will actually be, instead of it being excreted out of the body, it'll actually be reabsorbed back into the body, because it just has it's a detoxification system. The water will grab the bad stuff, and because the body wants to get rid of it. If you don't need it, it's going to get rid of it. So how is it going to do that? Through excrement and through urination. And so if the body's like, I don't have enough to do that, it's going to hold on to it. It's going to hold on to it hard, because it just can't physically get rid of it, because it doesn't have the strength to.
All right, I dig that. I like that. The way I'm interpreting it or internalizing it for myself is a diet, as far as the nutrition goes, of what you intake on the food side of thing, or even the liquid, doesn't really help without the cleanser of water. The cleansing ability of water is what make it life.
And vegetables too, and the greens, and all and the it's all connected. You need it all. You need it all, because once you have one part gone, you can see results, things like that. I mean, I never want to be negative towards one diet or another, but there are some that only focus on one macronutrient, and a macronutrient is the protein, carbohydrates, or fats. And so there's some that are just like, only just carbohydrates, or only just protein, things like that. It has to be a balance. If it's not a balance, then again, you will see results, but the body will not be in balance and will not be happy, and you will see problems later down the line. And that's what a lot of people don't think about. They don't think about later down the line. They think about now. They think about, I need this within the next 10 months. I need this in the next 2 years. But you're not really thinking about later, when you're older, and how you treated your body, and what the repercussions of that will be. And
embarrass yourself.
And so it's all. We just need it all. But I'm sorry, I keep getting off track here. I can talk about
passionate about it.
I am. I really
can see it, and it's so refreshing. I dig it. I like it a lot. It's the interview is going differently than I expected, but that's because I was just expecting quick facts about what I'm doing. But it's really neat, and I enjoy hearing your perspective on the life of a diet.
Right. Because it's your life. You choose to have that life, which is yours. So it's not just a diet; it's a lifestyle. You don't just. It has to be a lifestyle, because if it's just a diet, then it's just the temporary job for you. Which, once you're met your goal, you're going to quit it, and then you're going to go back to the way things were, and it can't. Which means you'll just spiral back into doing exactly what got you in that place in the first place.
No, I won't.
That's why I have full faith in you. So that's why it has to be a lifestyle. But as far as your list of foods here, you're doing really well. I mean, I would probably suggest a little bit more vegetables, like dark green vegetables. Maybe some bok choy, kale, maybe some darker leafy lettuces. Butter.
Said the K word.
Kale. Kale's so good if you know how to do it right. A little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of olive oil and avocado, and you can massage it. And I know it sounds weird. I know. Sounds weird, but the acid and the fat from the avocado actually tenderize the kale without it getting all weird and tannicky. And by tannic, I mean bitter, because you can overcook it quick. So like if you're gonna make kale, you steam it real quick or you saute it real quick, just enough so that it gets wilty. Because anything past that, it's gonna taste like canned because there's a lot of iron in it. There's a lot of plant iron, and so yeah, and sauces are good. Like I said, olive oil, just lemon juice. Anything with acid is going to counteract that canned taste, and it's going to taste a million times better.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll be reaching out for some recipes. Just so you know.
I can provide some recipes in another if you want. I can even do a cooking demonstration if you'd like.
That would be awesome. So yeah, you started going into what my next question was, which was basically based on the list that I sent you, will I hit my desired goal of the increased energy? I know it's not a long-term list. I just know that inside on my inside,
Yeah.
internally. So based on what you're seeing though on the list, will I hit my desired goal of the increased energy?
Absolutely. Again, I didn't see any oils that you cooked with, or if you cook with oil or anything like that. Definitely try to get some coconut oil in there. It's really great for. It is high in saturated fats, but coconut oil is a very interesting combination of essential fatty acids, in that it's. I don't want to get too jargony here, but pretty much the way that coconut oil is chemically aligned, it actually breaks down faster, so you can use it as energy rather than the body storing it. It's called the medium chain. Medium chain fatty acids make up about 65% of coconut oil, which is a lot higher than other oils do. And so what that means is just, again, it breaks it down. The body is able to break it down and utilize it as energy faster than what it normally does, which is store fat, because that's what our bodies do because we're mammals. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about the nutrition side of it. Then I know you have. It's obvious that you've got so much more that you can share on that side.
Yeah.
But my next question to you is: you just told me a little while ago that you've seen the first video on the 411. And what are your thoughts on the 411 itself as the goal setting tool? And then what is a couple of, I guess, major goals that you have for this year? And how can I help you achieve them?
Okay. Well, I really like the fact that it is an organization-based tool, because as much as we like to live carefree and, just the hats in the wind, things like that, we have to have some sort of plan, at least for the next week, at least for the next month, for the next 6 months, for the next year. Short, middle, long-term goals. And they don't have to be, I really feel they don't have to be set goals. They're just more of a guideline, so that we're not stumbling around in the dark trying to figure out what to do with our lives, because no one wants to do that. No one wants to waste time. Time is very precious to us. And so having organization, even if it sounds icky, is a good thing in life, I think. I believe it is, because I never would have gotten where I am today if I didn't at least have a loosely set plan of finishing school and wanting to be a registered dietitian. It took me 10 years. I'm not going to lie.
You said 2 BAs and a minor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took me 10 years to do it.
Pretty good.
Took me 10 years to figure out what I wanted to grow up and be, when I was an adult. And it was because I made a plan. And because when you don't make a plan, you don't see the light at the end of that tunnel. It's just this long, dark tunnel that you don't know if there is an end. But when you make those goals, no matter how short or long they are, there's still some sort of finish line, or some sort of, I got it feeling. I did this feeling, which is your program sounds perfect. It sounds like if you're kind of struggling on how to do it, then people can come watch this program and really see, a one side of how one person will do it. Because there's a million ways to crack an egg, but everyone needs to find the right way to crack their own egg. And so for me, my short-term goal right now is waiting for my uh, dietetic internships to get back to me. Cross my fingers. There's going to be at least one, hopefully two. But they're very competitive, and this is my second year. I had some failure, so this is my second year reapplying. And so from last year, I spent the whole year making my resume better. Because after I failed to get into the program, I was like, what can I do to make this better? Because I didn't want to quit, because this was my short-term goal.
Turning it into an opportunity.
Yeah, turning in an opportunity. I gained more skills. I read more books. I get in contact with my teachers, and they gave me a lot of good information, a lot of good opportunities to increase my resume with local food awareness programs and things like that. So I'm feeling really solid. But even as far as confident as I am right now, I could still fail, and that's a huge possibility. And so if I do, there's a plan B and a plan C. Like, I've been in the restaurant business for over 10 years, and so if I fail in being a registered dietitian, I'm thinking about opening up my own restaurant and using my knowledge of nutrition to create a restaurant that is not only healthy, but still stays in the realm of being a restaurant, and you can still get comfort foods in there. You can still get, the things that you want, but without it having it be at a cost. Because sometimes people walk in a restaurant and they're like, oh, I'm totally going to undo that 6-mile run I did today, but I don't care. I want that to be, I want it to be more of a guilt-free zone.
Making it work with the not cheating on your relationship with food.
Right. Because I've always believed in this slogan ever since I started. I heard it once. I don't know who said it, but it was, food is good for the body, but good food is good for the soul. And I have lived by that every day since I've heard that.
Awesome.
Trademark.
I remember, now that you say that, you just reminded me one time a while ago, I asked you what your favorite pickup line was. Can you do me a favor and share that with everybody? That would be excellent.
Oh my god, no, it's so bad. I can't even see it with a straight face. Okay. This is for you. I will never say this again. And so you walk up to a lady or a man, however you want, whoever, equal opportunity, and you say, you remind me of a bowl of oatmeal. You warm my heart and soul.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Never again. I will never say that.
I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to throw a handful of blueberries on it.
Sprinkle some cinnamon.
Oh, yes. That is great. That's perfect. I think that will work well.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you remember that.
I do. I remember that. So obviously, we're getting into something a little more fun. Along with the food list that I sent you a few questions.
You did.
I asked you who your favorite superhero was, what your dream vacation was, what is something that you know everything there is to know about. So it's a little bit of trivia here.
Okay.
You told me that your dream vacation would be to go to New Zealand at some point.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Did you know, and if you did, tell me the name of the only 100% made in New Zealand from start to finish tea estate that they have in New Zealand?
Tea estate?
They have an estate, and it looks amazing.
Oh, man. That's good trivia. Because I know they make. Oh my god. I honestly couldn't tell you the name of the estate. Perfect. But I know there's some fine tea that comes out of New Zealand, preferably black tea.
The name of the tea estate that I found was Geelong. Geelong Estate. So I'm going to see what I can do about trying to get you something from there so that you can try some of their products.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Your favorite superhero, you told me, was Spider-Man. So quick fire as fast as you can. Who and why is your favorite Spider-Man? Is it Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, or Tom Holland?
Tom Holland.
Why?
Tom Holland is the actual embodiment and representation of an actual nerdy, geeky, kind of loserish Peter Parker in a high school setting like it should have been way back in the day with Tobey Maguire. Sorry, he failed at that job. It was cool at the time, but they're just people who just do it way better. Andrew Garfield was kind of in the middle. He was way too cool for school, second of all. Yeah, no, I mean, Peter is a nerd. Like, he's like, hey, guys, kind of nerd. You know what I mean? He kept in the background, ogled just Mary Jane, or actually before that, since it was high school, it was Gwen Stacy, before the whole tragedy and that kind of thing. Push my nerd glasses up, and so Tom Holland does the best job because he has the banter, he's got the way of saying it as well, because it's a way you say the banter as well. Tobey Maguire just felt really awkward. Andrew Garfield was just way too confident in being Spider-Man, which just, I don't know, it just kind of put me off. Not that it was a bad movie or they were bad movies. It's just, it wasn't the Spider-Man for me, because I grew up reading those comics, watching Peter Parker get completely just plastered by school and failing at life and failing at everything, but he's still saving the world, really not getting the girl half the time, and, always being a menace to society, J. Jonah Jameson. But he still did what he did because it was the right thing to do.
I completely agree with you on that. just so you're aware, every part of it.
Oh, and the web shooters, by the way.
And agreed. Never mind. Well, that's for another time. What about just to throw a little bit of a curveball out there? Who was the best Aunt May? Sally Field or Rosemary Harris?
Oh my God! Actually, the best Aunt May was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I can't remember her name.
That was Rosemary Harris, I believe.
Yeah, she actually portrayed the best Aunt May, I think, because Tom Holland's Aunt May is kind of in the newer universe, like the Spider-Man Unlimited. I think, is it Unlimited? No, Spectacular Spider-Man, where like the hot Aunt May, who is more active. Who is more active in the storyline than, Aunt May in the other story of Spider-Man universes. Ultimate Spider-Man. It's the Ultimate Spider-Man where it's like hot Aunt May exists, so this is kind of like hot Aunt May's.
It's a little bit less of the menagerie.
Yeah.
With Aunt May. Yeah.
But the best one was, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man Aunt May, because that was like the elderly wisdom type that you needed to pick him up whenever he was down or didn't understand something or needed a different perspective from, the world or girls or anything. She was the person he went to that she said the right thing in like a sentence.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I don't remember the exact line, but there was a moment where he did that. He walked up to her, and I think they were standing in the backyard or something like that.
Oh, yeah. They had a garage sale. She was moving to a different apartment.
Yeah.
And like had all the comic books there, and he was telling the story about the little boy who wanted to be Spider-Man. Yeah, I remember, and it was something to the effect of basically the old adage of where much is given, much is expected. Where responsibility is given, then a lot more is expected of you. So, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's probably all it is. Something to that effect, but that's all that I have.
Okay.
All right.
Well, do you have any other questions for me? I wanted to throw this in here just real quick. Like, I saw that you have juices here, and you have like sparingly that you have juices. It's good because juice. If you think about it, if it takes 4 oranges to squeeze the amount of orange juice you drink per day, would you eat 4 oranges rather than drink the juice? Keep that in mind with juices.
Yeah, I put on there
when it comes to that kind of thing. Yeah. No, it's good. I'm highlighting that you did sparingly because I'm just putting it in perspective for people because a lot of people don't realize I would not eat 7 apples worth of apple juice if I wanted that apple juice. You know what I mean? Then
I'm not even thinking of it in that respect. Like my thought is through the process of creating apple juice or orange juice and commercializing it. Depending on what brand you're getting, there's a lot that they do to it. There's sugars added, and I know that I've got to avoid specific sugars, especially refined sugars and things like that, to allow myself my diet the way that I want it to go. So that was my thought behind it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. Everything looks solid here. Just as long as you keep mixing it up. Always mix it up. Try not to eat the same things every day. And you can treat yourself. Treat yourself every once in a while. Grab a slice of pizza if that's all you feel like having. You know, grab a burrito. I mean, make sure it has some rice and beans. That's a complex carbohydrate.
All right.
And there you go. And then you know, make sure it's got all the macros in there. You got your dairy, your cheese, you got your meats. You know, if you want to make it healthier, make it chicken or something like that. You know, lean, things like that.
I did that the other day, actually.
Yeah, cilantro, lime, that's all great. It's high in vitamin C and iron, and you know, just don't fall off the bandwagon completely just because you know got a quick bite to eat. Because the world is crazy, and our society is knocking on the door for us to complete 5 things at once, and just slow down. Especially and that's another thing. When people are eating food, focus on the food. Don't focus on, you know, the TV show you're watching or your cell phone or things like that. It's just like, take a moment to disconnect from everything and just be with yourself too. You know, not just with entertainment or with your life or whatever. You know, you're allowed to take a moment for yourself, and you should. And food time can be that time. Other people, you know, work out. Other people meditate, things like that. Do your meditation when you eat if you don't have enough time. Just focus on yourself, because the food you're putting into your body is, you're speaking to yourself saying, I'm eating this because I am doing this for myself because I need it. You know, and that's not the same thing for everybody, because some people see eating or just food in general as just a general annoyance. It's like, ugh, I have to eat. I get it. And that's their perspective on it, and it can change, but take that time for yourself, because you're allowed to take that time for yourself.
I like that. Internalize while internalizing.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it. Well, thank you very much, Adam, for your time.
Very welcome. Sorry that was really long-winded.
No, I love it, though. It's awesome. We're going to have some of this put into the YouTube segment that I'm making. My video
cut and paste whatever parts you want.
And then we're also going to be putting up the raw video, so all of this will be up, and it'll be fun. So we can go with the long-winded or just the 30 seconds. I'll pull out too. So I've had a blast. I'm going to stop recording.
So have I.
Stay on or not. So
yeah, sure.
Jimmy,